Ever wondered what really happened to Hannah Barron, the fearless Catfish Queen who could wrestle giant fish with her bare hands, and what went down between her and the man she once planned to marry? For years, she ruled YouTube with her wild hunts and unstoppable energy, but lately, fans aren't just asking why she's posting less, they're asking what happened to her love life. Behind that fearless smile lies a story of heartbreak, silence, and maybe even betrayal. Because what unfolded between Hannah and her ex might just be the darkest twist in her otherwise wild, unstoppable journey. She grew up in the quiet, wild spaces of Crenshaw County, Alabama, surrounded by woods and rivers, long before her social media cameras rolled. As a little girl, her father took her out, tracking deer, threading through the hush of dawn, waiting. She remembers how, when she was 8, she and her dad watched smaller bucks pass by, and finally she pulled the trigger on a 7-point buck. That moment did something. It whispered that patience yields something bigger. From that early chapter, she built her identity around the outdoors, hunting, fishing, bow fishing, and noodling massive catfish with her bare hands. The water and the woods were less a backdrop and more a truth she lived. And in sharing that truth on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, she became more than just the girl who hunts. She became a story people wanted to follow. But with fame comes questions, and with the quiet spaces come secrets. For her fans, one of the persistent questions was, is she married? Does she have a husband? The simple answer, as of now, no, she isn't married. But the full story, well, it winds through love, loss, transformation, and a choice between being visible and being private. She once entered a chapter of her life with someone named Hunter Ryan Horton. They were both outdoorsmen and women, sharing the sweat, mud, and the camera roll. The two seemed inseparable for a time. She posted him alongside her hunts, the two of them going into swamps, woods, rivers, and seeming to live the kind of life most people only scroll at. Their connection turned serious, culminating in an engagement. For a while, fans cheered on a wedding in the works. And yet by 2019, the engagement quietly ended. The wedding didn't happen. They both separated. Details remained private. The public only glimpsed the start and the ending. That breakup caught many fans off guard. To see someone who seemed so constant in her wild life and in her partner, and then have that chapter close, it felt abrupt. And perhaps it should remind us that what's filmed, posted, and shared is only part of the story. The interior conversations, changing hearts, and the shifting dreams, they don't always make the cut. After Hunter came a new name in the mix, Paul Washer, a professional firefighter, an Air Force aviator, and someone who shares love for the outdoors. Around Valentine's Day 2024, she posted a heartfelt shout-out to Paul, the image of love in her feed. Yet following that, the posts of the two together became rare, almost absent. The public cannot confirm the status now. The relationship seems to have drifted into private waters or into the pause zone. So at this writing, it appears that Hannah is not publicly attached, at least not in a way she continues to share. And that opens the next layer of this story: independence. The decision to live on her own terms. There's also this quiet question lingering among her fans. Why has Hannah's YouTube channel slowed down so much? Her full-length uploads have become fewer since early April 2025, and even her usually steady stream of shorts has trickled to an occasional post. The camera hasn't vanished, her social profiles are still alive and active, but the rhythm has changed. Instead of frequent, high-energy videos, there's a calmer pace, fewer long edits, and more glimpses than deep dives. It doesn't look like she's quit at all. It feels more like she's taking her time, balancing her real life with her online one. Maybe it's the grind catching up with her, or maybe she's simply choosing to slow down, create on her own terms, and to turn the lens inward for a while. When her uploads began to slow, the Reddit community sprang into action. On subreddits like r/Hannah Barron, fans and skeptics alike began piecing together her silence, speculating about everything from a secret marriage to burnout or a private breakup. Threads popped up with titles like, "Where'd she go?" and "What happened to Hannah Barron?" The chatter ranged from casual comments on her hunting videos to deeper questions about whether she was deliberately stepping out of the spotlight. The Reddit space became a digital campfire where people tried to fill the gaps in her story. What if the reason for the pause is more than just taking a break? What if it's about deeper change, about shifting priorities, life away from cameras, and about aligning her identity less with subscriber counts and more with the wild spaces she loves and the relationships she builds. She's been through risk too. Her father, Jeff, fell from a tree stand and fractured vertebrae in both his neck and lower back, still walking 400 yards to the truck. Later, he was taken to hospital. That kind of close encounter with mortality shifts the lens. For her, the woods and rivers are beyond just scenic backdrops. They can be rough, they can hurt, and remind us of what matters. And there's criticism too. She's been called not feminine enough because of a southern accent and the hands-on work she does: mud, guns, and hunting. One viral post from a commentator tried to shame her. This accent needs to be illegal, and women should be banned from doing manual labor like this, the critic wrote. Hannah's response: these folks talking about me thinking they're going to offend me, that ship sailed a long time ago. I've been getting picked on my whole life. I grew up around men. So the story we see is layered. A woman who chases fishes, deer, and wild spaces, builds a following, engages, and then steps back from the constant pressure of outward visibility. She had love, lost love, perhaps found a new kind of love, and now seems to be stepping into something that doesn't need a ring to define it: an identity, craft, and a connection to the land and water. If you ask whether she has a husband, the answer remains no. But if you ask whether she is living fully and following purpose, the answer seems like a loud yes. In the swirl of social media, where every post gets a comment and every silence becomes a question, Hannah's decision to slow down her YouTube uploads invites a reflective question. What does it mean for someone who built a brand around sharing everything to stop sharing the long pieces? Does silence mean disappearance, or does it mean transformation? Maybe she's choosing the wild for herself again, because the chase still calls. Maybe she's choosing people who know her when the cameras are off. And maybe she's choosing a version of life where the story isn't always told, it's lived. So if you scroll her feed and notice the quiet, don't assume she's gone. Assume she might be shifting. She might be rewriting the next chapter in the woods, away from the lens, with a degree of freedom we rarely see online. And maybe ask yourself, if you were her living in the wild with a following, love, and loss behind you, would you keep posting every moment, or would you lean into the quiet? What does commitment mean when you share your brand with millions? And what does it mean when you don't? In a world where wedding rings, hashtags, and uploads feel like proof, Hannah reminds us that choosing self and stance in silence can be just as bold. She's a reminder that being in a serious relationship doesn't always show up in a post. Not being married doesn't mean you're alone. And stepping back from the camera might not mean giving up. It might mean growing up. And so here we stand, fans and watchers, waiting for the next upload, but also wondering what's happening behind the trees, water, and unposted clips. Because sometimes the most interesting story is the one unfolding quietly, away from the red record light. Whether she returns with another epic catch or simply keeps living life off camera, her journey is far from over. After all, the wild has always been her home, and some stories are best written in quiet rather than in a world that exposes privacy. Let us know your opinions in the comments.